down and across your cylinder like so. And I'll show you on my cylinder. Little flicks across. Nice. Following that line. Little flick, little flick. See how I start at the edge of my cylinder? Flick it in, lift my pencil up. At the edge of my cylinder, flick it in. So you want to make sure that you're starting at the edge and bringing it in. And keep doing that all the way down. Starting at the edge and flicking it in. Should have a really dark area in the corner there. Should be a bit lighter here. Yes, very good. That's looking so good. And we're doing the exact same down the side of the cube, up to there, flicking it in. And when you go down the edge of the cube, because it's quite a little line, we can do little flicks. Just little flicks, back and forward. Little flicks. We want to make that line nice and dark so we can follow it up along the edge, drawing up the edge with the side of your pencil again, just to keep it nice and dark. Along this edge here, nice and dark with the side of your pencil, and along this edge here too, nice and dark with the side of your pencil. So you can see we're adding more depth and it's creating more. Yes, that's looking so good. Now we need to blend this color here with this color here. So you can see it's quite a drastic difference at the moment. What we need to do is really lightly with the side of your pencil, just rubbing back and forward to try and blend it together. I'm not putting much pressure at all. I'm just lightly pushing that pencil back and forth, keeping it in that curvy motion. Lots of pressure when we're at the side, not so much pressure when we're in the middle. And going down here, keeping it nice and light. Nice and light. You want to blend it out just a little bit so it's not so harsh. Blending, blending, blending. Yes, it's looking so good. And now you want to bring it across just a little bit further, but make sure it's nice and light. Very, very light to bring it across. You don't want it too dark, just bring it across nice and lightly. And it should kind of look like that. I'll hold it close as you can see. So I've brought it across nice and lightly. I'm not putting much pressure at all. Nice and light. Yay, they're looking so good. Next move is to shadow for the top. We're going to start with the dark in this corner here and bring it out. Much like the sphere and the cylinder, we need to follow that shape. So you're going to follow this C shape to about halfway. But as we go in, the C gets smaller and smaller. So we start with the edge, nice and dark. And then we come in smaller and smaller. Like so, still keeping that C shape. You're following that shape. If you make a mistake, that's okay. Just get your eraser and rub out the mistake you've made. I have accidentally made a mistake, which is all good. Erasers are great and they fix problems. And again, with the exact same technique, you want to use the tip of your pencil along the edge to really define that edge. And we're defining the tip top of that shape and defining the side of that shape. Like so, defining the side. I have made a mistake again. It's all good. Teachers make mistakes too. But you know, we learn from mistakes. Like Bob Ross said, they're just happy little accidents. So once we have this shading, you've got your dark area, you've got your very light area. we're going to add in just very lightly a little bit more shading to this area. Keeping that C motion. And again, I have gone too far, that's okay. Keeping that C motion. So you should have a shape that has shadows at the back and all down the side. Oh, they're looking so good. Move it so you can see it completely. Awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm loving the colors we've all chosen as well, can I say? These are some good choices. We've got some aquas, some purples, some blues. Oh, that yellow is very bright. I like that yellow. Oh, these are fun. All right, we're moving on to the cube. So the cube, whoops, we need to think about the fact that the circle is sitting in front of the cube. So the circle will leave a shadow on the cube. Now it's sitting about here. So I'm going to go from the tip top of the circle, and the cube's probably it's going to not directly across, but it's going to go across and come down a little bit. So the sun is facing down. We're going to go on an angle and make a sort of circle shape, like a backward C again. I'll make it darker so you can see what I'm doing. Making a backward C again, because that is where we are going to have the circle shadow hitting this cube. It will also hit, so we're going to have our line under here where the cylinder finishes. Going to leave a little gap, do another line just to the edge of that cube. That gap's going to be white. We're going to do a line from the circle to the edge of the cube. Just this little itty bitty line just there. You're always welcome to change the colors. You could have a different color per shape if you like. I am more than happy for you to do that. Once we have this circle shape here, it needs to link back up to our circle. So from the bottom of our circle, I'm going to do a bit of a curvy line to link back together to this bit here. I'll do it darker so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to link it all together. Now, do not worry if your shadow shape is not the same as your circle shape, because shadows distort things. So that means that whatever the shape is that we have, the shadow will not look the same. It'll look kind of skinnier and longer, or it might look wider and smaller, but this shadow is a good shape. Awesome. Once we have that, we're going to shade in these areas. Now, because it is on a flat surface, we do not need to follow the curve. We just need to color them in nice and flat. So with the side of your pencil, do not color. So we leave this white, but this bit here we're coloring. Just nice and flat, coloring it, coloring it, coloring it with the side of your pencil. When we think about a shadow on the ground, the shadow is an even color. So if you have a look at mine at the moment, I've got some darks, some lights, and et cetera, et cetera. We need to make that nice and flat by making that an even color. So I need to just go over it a couple of times to make sure that that color is a nice, even, flat color. Nice and even. So it's a nice, solid, flat color. Going back and forth, back and forth. Shadows are probably the easiest things to shade because they are a solid color. And if you want to make your edges a little bit softer, just go to your edge and really lightly color out, just very lightly. You can soften those edges off because shadows sometimes have a bit of a soft edge. And it makes it more 3D when you do that. And we like that. We like to make things look more 3D, more realistic. It makes people look at our art and go, oh, wow. And that's the best reaction we want. Making sure that's nice and colored in. Ooh, look at it. Oh, lots of people have their hand up. Sorry. Emily, did you have a question? I wonder if we can. I'll sharpen my pencil. Can I unmute you, Emily? I don't think I can. Could we unmute Emily?
Lauren,
Yeah.
I already unmuted myself, but my lines I have drew looks like a caveman drawing act. Then if I just had a mistake, so I rubbed it. My rubber just began painful now. Look at my
So
rubber. It's pink.
Yeah, that'll happen because we're using colored pencil. So don't worry about it, because if you have a look at this one here, when it comes to this area here where you think you've made it a bit too thick and long, we're going to add a shadow there anyway. Happy accidents can be fixed with shadows.
Yes.
Laura, did you have... Sorry, Emily, could you mute yourself again?
Well, I just crafted myself this, and inside there's a paper piece.
All right.
Come out. These come out.
All right, we're going to move on to
Great.
the... Emily, can you mute yourself if that's okay? Awesome. All right, we're going to get on to this bit. So we're going to color in this bit as well with a nice shadow. Again, because it is a shadow, it is a nice flat color. So I want you to, very similar to this one, make this a nice flat color using the side of our pencil, not the tip, the side. Flattening it out. It does not need to follow the shape because this is a square, and that's a nice flat shape anyway. Keeping it nice and shading. You can go up and down, you can go left to right. That's okay. Up and down, left to right. What we want to do is we want to try and have this shadow a little bit lighter than this shadow. If you can see, it's a little bit lighter. It's not as dark. Now, if you've made it and it's the same as this one, just go through and make this one darker. And all you have to do is color over it again to make it a bit darker. See if you can soften out your edges on this as well. We do really light, soft edges because shadows sometimes have a bit of a soft edge and make it look very dramatic. Try and keep your shadow nice and even. We don't want lights and darks in our shadow. We want it to be one even color. So you should have it kind of like so. The next thing we need to do, we need to add a little bit of shadow onto the cylinder here because the circle's sitting on the cylinder. So we can just add just a little bit like so. Not too much, just a little bit. So I made it just a little bit darker by really lightly coloring over that section there. Not at the top of our shadow, a little bit lower. Then we are moving on to our square, our cube. Oh, they're looking so good. So with our cube, the darkest point of our cube is going to be this corner here because the sun is this way, which means that this is the furthest from the light. This is also going to be nice and dark, this corner here. So we need to start by following the shape of this square. You follow it going one way and then going up this way. We start in the bottom left corner and we're going across nice and lightly in sort of like a coloring towards a triangle. So we color along, nice and along, and then up into a point. And then we do it the other way too. Nice and along this way, up into a point. So it ends up kind of looking like this. So we go along the bottom, going up till we get to a point. Along the side, going down until we get to a point. Nice and light starting off. going across, bringing it up, going down, bringing it across. And it will build up a shadow. Then we also need to color in, oh, very good, this top left one as well, going across, bringing it down. And same for the other two corners, going across and bringing it up like so. We're going to end up coloring this whole section in nice and light. But your darkest areas should be your corners. So your corners need to be dark. Make sure we're going across the bottom, then across this top, across the bottom, across the top. Give it some depth. And again, across the top, and then across the side, across the top, and keep following it along, across the top, up the side, and the last one. And then just following it off by making it nice and light over the whole area. You'll see there are some areas that you've colored in that need to be spread out a little bit. That's okay. We just spread them out a little bit. So it should still be nice and dark in the edges and slightly lighter in the center. Then with the tip of your pencil, go around each edge for me and color in the edges. So nice and dark in the edges. Our edges need to be nice and dark. Like so. They should have a little bit of a curve to them. Nice and dark edges. And again, nice and dark. Up the edges, down the side there. Along the top. There's lots of back and forward coloring in when it comes to shading. Awesome, just looking so good. Then we need to do the same thing to this one, but not as much. So this corner we'll do it nice and light, moving it down just lightly, using the side of your pencil and following it up just lightly. Try and follow the line of this line. So we're not going straight across, we're following it up with the diagonal.
Sorry, we got a question from Emily. Mura first. Mura, can you unmute?
Can you slow down?
Oh, sorry, lovely. So we're just trying to color in all these sections. Someone's left their vote. It will take a while. It's lots of coloring back and forward. I'm going to make this darker because I think this isn't dark enough. You know what's really helpful with being on Zoom is you can hold your work up to the camera and the camera will tell you, the screen will tell you what you need to make darker or not. So if you have a look, and you can see really harsh shapes within this area, what you need to do is you need to just blend it out nice and softly. So if you can see, I can see that I have a circle here that doesn't really need to be that light. I can use it and blend it out a little bit more. When we look at it with our eyes, if you don't have a camera, you can squint sometimes having a look at it. So you get your eyes and you squint while looking at your work. And if you see there's a really white area that should be a shadow, you go find that area and you just color over that again. Squinting is the best thing to do when we have to look at shadows. If you look at your work, do a little squint, see that, oh, that's not very good, that spot, I need to make sure that's the right color next to it, and keep it all the similar color in your shadows. Also, another amazing tip when you're doing art, yes, awesome, good job, Isaac. What you can do is you can put your art up in front of you, stand back, walk away from it, look at it from afar, and it makes you think about it, and you're like, oh, actually, that line there needs to be a bit more straight this way, or this needs to be done that way, and you can see things. So putting your artwork back, maybe even leaning it up against a wall so that you can see it, and going, oh, I think I need to fix this bit, or that's working. It helps you to look at it a different way. Okay, so I think we should get onto the top shadow now. We're going to work on this top bit. The darkest point of the top bit is this corner here. We're going to make that corner nice and dark. So we'll start off by following it along the edge. Not too dark to start off with. Remember, we are adding more and more as we go through. So we're starting off by coloring down this way, up into that triangle again. So you color down, you color along, and as you go up this edge here, you make your lines smaller and smaller. And we do the same, but we turn our page and go from the top, following this line here. And as we go across, we go smaller and smaller. So then it will make a rounded shape. And we need to do that a bunch of times. So coloring over that smaller and smaller. And again, smaller and smaller. Then we need to do this corner as well, the exact same that you did that corner, starting at the top, coming across, smaller and smaller, and then down from this edge across, smaller and smaller. Nice and light to start off with, and we'll add some more dark areas. So going down, slowly coming across, and again going down, slowly coming across. Now what I'm going to do, because the whole top of it should be decently dark, I'm going to lightly color in all the rest of it, nice and light, following along that angle.
We got a question from Emily. Emily, can you unmute?
Mm.
Have any question, Emily? All right.
Hitesh, do you have, I think Hitesh has a question as well.
Yeah. Let me. Jennifer?
Look at yours, Jennifer. That's looking so good. Awesome. So now how you have the triangle in this corner here, I want you to also add that extra triangle in this back corner too. So start in the corner and color it out nice and dark. So start in this corner and color it out like this. All right, we're on the last little bit. We're almost done. If you can see, this is all nicely shaded. This is nicely shaded and this is nicely shaded. We've got a shadow here, but we've forgotten about the shadow for this one. What you need to do is go to the bottom corner of your cube and you're going to do a line pretty much straight out like so. I'll make mine nice and dark so you can see it. You need to remember that every object will have a shadow because the light will hit it. So from the bottom corner, straight out across. Then from halfway up, straight out across. I did mine very drastically, don't do it like that. Straight out across and straight out across. And the exact same as the other shadow we did. It needs to be a flat, even color. So you see how this one has some darks, some lights, and some darks? We need a flat color. So with the side of your pencil, I need to sharpen again. We are doing a nice flat color. You can start off with the edge of your pencil, just going across. Because it is the edge of the paper, and it feels a bit funny to go off the edge like this sometimes, doesn't it? What I would say is color down the edge of the paper so that you're not coloring off it because it will feel a bit funny. So coloring down the edge of the paper. Make sure that shadow is nice and dark, darker than your square, but flat. So we don't want to make it lights and darks. We want to make it one dark color. So you will shade nicely with the edge of your pencil, and then you'll come back and we'll shade with the tip of our pencil, coloring it in. Again, when it comes to the edge of the paper, just hold your hand here and you got a shadow here. If your shadow doesn't match the edge, make it a little darker. So just keep coloring it in darker. The good thing about pencil drawings is we can just keep adding layers and layers. So if you just keep drawing on top of it, it'll get darker. And if you need to make it lighter, you can use an eraser and rub out sections of it to make it lighter. Just along the edge here, keep coloring it in. And then we have that one last technique that we need to do. You need to soften the edges of your shadows. Awesome, Albert, that looks so good. Can I get you to soften the edges of your shadows? So with the side of your pencil, we are just the edge of our shadow. We're just going to lightly soften and add little light areas. Just lightly. And up here, just lightly. So that it softens it out just a little bit. And you should end up with something that looks like this. You don't need to have the sun. The sun is just for me. They are looking so good. And what's the final thing that you need to do as an artist? You need to sign your work. So down in the bottom corner, add in your signature. If you do not have one, it is time to make up a fun one. You can change it every week because it's all about having fun. So you've got your artwork, you've got your signature, and we've got our shadows. I do not like this sun. They all look, are we all happy? And if you think you need some extra areas that need darkening, just go through, add little dark areas, make them nice and sharp. It is up to you. The great thing about this is a skill you can remember. So we always have dark where the sun is not and light where the sun is. I'm just adding extra bits because I can see it on the camera. Oh, they're looking so good. I'm liking these shadows. If you are finished, could you hold up your work so I can have a look at it? Amazing. They're so good. Yes. Albert, sign your work. Ownership. Be proud of it. It looks very good. Yes. Well, there's only 4 minutes till the end anyway. Emily, I like your signature. It's very good. Depthy, I like yours. Can we add a signature? Have ownership, really. Oh, look. Amalia, sorry. That looks lovely. And Amelia. Dizzle and Hayden. I like the colors you've used, Halen. That's looking very good. Hitesh's is very bright. Oh, Ruhi, yours is lovely too. Aaron and James, do you want to show yours? Oh, look at those. They're looking very good. Oh, yes. Punchy, Alicia, they're looking very good. Addie, I love your signature. Perfect. It's looking so good. Yes. Oh, they're such good shapes. I'm so proud of everyone. Fiona, your shading is very good. Riley, nice signature. You've definitely done very well there. These are looking so good. Awesome. Oh, thank you so much. Gabriella's looks awesome too. Oh my gosh. And Mia's got a very nice work. Oh, sorry. Diesel has a question. Diesel, sorry. Did I say your name wrong? You can correct me. How do I?
My name's Diesel, not Halen.
Sorry, it says Diesel and Halen, and I'm getting confused. Sorry, lovely.
Yeah, my brother didn't want to do it.
Ah, well, you know what? He can just look at your work and see how good it is.
Yeah.
All right, lovelies. I hope you all had fun. We all made some amazing artwork. Take some photos. Sorry, Jennifer, did you have a question, lovely? Oh, you went away. I'm just going to check what next week is just to see what, so I can have a reminder about it. So next week we'll be working on next week we're doing facial features. So drawing a face. Should all be excited for that one. They look so good. All right, so make sure that you take a photo of your work. Take a photo, get your parents to send them in to Faces Are Hard, but you know what? I will help you. We're going to send a photo into Brilliant Kids, and then we can show your work and show how amazing it is. Thank you so much. All right, lovelies. It is time to go. Go enjoy your afternoon.
Yes.
See ya. Thank you so much for joining.
Wait.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.